Hello and welcome to Personable, a podcast focused on speaking to the world's best, enabling you to become the best that you can be. My name is Harvey Bracken-Smith. Today I'm going to be discussing what I have learned from the first 10 episodes of Personable. I started off Personable in 2022, September. I was interviewing a man by the name of Ruben Gnanalingam. Ruben owns two football clubs, LAFC and QPR, as well as being the CEO of Westports. Since then, in those first 10 episodes, I went throughout most of 2023, filming and posting 3 in the first half of 2023, and then posting for 17 weeks in a row, straight from September of 2023 onwards. In that time, I interviewed billionaires, I interviewed the CEOs, Rugby World Cup winning players, actresses, tennis players, billion-dollar founders, the deputy CEO of the DP World Tour and the director of the Ryder Cup, Duke professors, as well as being up-and-coming entrepreneurs. I thought it'd be helpful for me to take you on a journey and to share some of the key learnings I have had. Please excuse me for looking down throughout this podcast. I've got notes and I think it'd be helpful for me to refer to them so you could be able to listen to this episode and be able to get some quick takeaways that you could get without listening to those episodes individually. If you wanted a quick summary as well as the key insights that you could learn. So starting off, Ruben Gnanalingam, CEO of Westports Malaysia. He employs over 6,000 people, as well as being the owner of two football clubs, LAFC and QPR. So I'd give you a short summary on him and then a longer summary in terms of what he learned. So in this episode, Ruben shared his philosophy of balancing profitability with purpose, emphasizing ethical leadership and long-term thinking in business. Drawing from his role at Westports Malaysia, he explains how aligning corporate success with societal impact creates a sustainable business model. The key points of this podcast were on ethical leadership, long-term focus, balancing profit with purpose. And a key quote that stuck out to me was sustainable success comes from ethical decisions made consistently. And my learning would be prioritizing values over short-term gains leading to lasting success. Ruben grew up in Malaysia, attending Victoria Institution before moving to the UK at the age of 17 to attend Eton College, where he had completed his A-levels. He went on to study economics at the London School of Economics, LSE. He explained that it's common for Malaysian families to pursue education abroad if the opportunity arises, and he appreciated the connections and rigorous academics that the UK offered. After LSE, Ruben joined Westports, a family business where he spent his first year in various roles, from working the night shift to shadowing different departments. This hands-on approach, encouraged by his father, grounded him in the day-to-day realities of running a company. Ruben recounted how his father insisted he start at the bottom to understand every aspect of the business. It was a formative time where he learned from people who now report to him, fostering mutual respect and trust. Ruben emphasized that a healthy workplace culture relies on open and honest feedback. Many of his senior team members used to be his bosses, creating an environment where they feel comfortable, giving him tough but valuable advice. He explained that avoiding a yes-man culture is crucial because real growth comes from being able to hear and act on different truths. Ruben left Westports temporarily during the dot-com bubble to start an incubator fund with his friends. This allowed him to make mistakes without risking the family business and learn the importance of betting on strong founders rather than just good ideas. Ruben shared a story about how he implemented flexi hours at one of his startups, only to have to fail because there was no one there to answer customer calls in the morning. His father let him learn the lesson the hard way, teaching Ruben that some mistakes are best learned through experience. Essentially, what he tried to do was he would enable his employees to work the hours they wanted to do instead of being in the office at a strict time. But as I just mentioned, when customers were calling, they want the answers there and now, and because everyone was just working on their own schedule, there was no one there to answer those calls. But upon returning to Westports, Ruben focused on building strong governance and a positive culture. He believed that structure is vital for long-term success and helps prevent bad actors from taking advantage of the company's vulnerabilities. Ruben's passion for sports led him to create a reality TV show in Malaysia called My Team, which scouted football talent from unconventional backgrounds. This project inspired him to invest in sports, eventually leading to his involvement with the KL Dragons basketball team in LAFC. Ruben led Westports to a successful IPO in 2013, a process he found exhausting but rewarding. The experience opened his eyes to how the vet investors view the company and offered valuable feedback that helped Westports improve. Looking ahead, Ruben aims to expand Westports' capacity and focus on making QPR more sustainable looking to explore new income streams that can make better use of their venue. If I was to give you a 3-sentence takeaway, Ruben Gnanalingam's journey highlights the importance of combining hands-on experience with a willingness to learn from his mistakes. His leadership philosophy centers on honest feedback, strong governance, and a focus on people over ideas. Whether in business or sports, Ruben believes that creating a positive culture and making strategic decisions based on both data and intuition are key to long-term success. My second podcast guest, after not filming for 6 months, was with a lady named Andrea Pinchen. Andrea has been a long-time fan of Leicester Tigers Rugby Club, and she has actually worked her way up through the club and now is CEO of Leicester Tigers Rugby Club. This episode was filmed and posted in April 2023. So the short summary. Andrea is the CEO of Leicester Tigers Rugby Club. She discusses the challenges and rewards of managing a top sports organisation. She highlights the importance of resilience, transparency and community support in building a successful sports brand, particularly during challenging times. Her key points focus on resilience in sports management, transparency and community focus. And a key quote, "Building a team means embracing every challenge as an opportunity." And the key learnings, strong leadership fosters trust and loyalty, especially in high-stakes environments. Andrea is the CEO of Leicester Tigers, a club she's been with for nearly 19 years. Her career started at AXA Health, followed by 11 years at Emirates, giving her a foundation in business and people management. Andrea was appointed as CEO in May of 2020, just as the pandemic hit. She faced the massive challenge of keeping the club afloat, with games cancelled, revenues plummeting, and no clear playbook for managing a club during a global crisis. Andrea shared how tough it was to ask players and staff to take a 25% pay cut to prevent layoffs. She emphasised that sacrifice was crucial for the club's survival and showed how strong the bond with the Leicester Tigers community truly was. Andrea focused on restoring trust between the executive team and club staff. She implemented regular Zoom meetings during the lockdown so that players, staff and fans could ask questions and get direct, honest updates. Andrea's approach emphasised open communication, a no surprises policy, and actively addressing the press leakages by ensuring internal transparency, which she believed mitigated distrust among team members. After the immediate crisis of the pandemic, Andrea turned her attention to making the club sustainable, implementing financial strategies to clear debts and establish long-term stability. Andrea spoke about a unique opportunity the pandemic provided to reassess the club's structure, goals and operations. This reflection period led to decisions that improved efficiency and competitiveness. Andrea played an active role in recruiting Steve Borthwick and later supporting Richard Wigglesworth as head coach. She and Steve developed an analytical approach to recruitment, focusing on specific styles and skill sets that align with the club's vision. When Borthwick was recruited by England, Andrea admitted feeling a mix of pride and loss, knowing she had prepared for the eventuality, but still feeling the challenge of adjusting to her shift. Her focus was to create continuity and support new leaders while maintaining team morale. Andrea took innovative steps to increase fan engagement and revenue by offering a more immersive matchday experience. This included adding street vendors, live music and games to create an environment similar to American sports events, where fans can enjoy a full-day experience. Andrea was instrumental in launching the Leicester Tigers women's team, aiming to integrate them fully into the club's professional setup. She was excited about them entering the Premier 15s next season, viewing this expansion as an essential step for the club and promoting women's rugby in Leicester. The 3-sentence takeaway. Andrea Pinchen's story showcases the power of resilience, transparency, and community and leadership. She believes that success comes from strategic foresight and a relentless commitment to people in the organisation. For Andrea, leadership at Leicester Tigers is about nurturing a legacy of trust and pride, turning challenges into opportunities for growth. Episode 3 of Personable featured Kyran Bracken. Kyran, being my uncle, is a World Cup winning rugby player, having won the World Cup with England in 2003. The short summary of this is former England rugby player Kyran Bracken reflects on the dedication, discipline and mental toughness required to excel in professional rugby. He shares lessons on handling pressure and overcoming injury and how these experiences shaped his post-rugby career. Key points focus on mental resilience, discipline and post-career transition. A key quote, "Success in sport is about thriving under pressure and bouncing back from setbacks. And learnings, mental toughness and adaptability are as crucial as physical skill in competitive sports." Kyran is a celebrated former England rugby player with a fascinating career both on and off the pitch. He is known for his resilience and adaptability. Kyran shares stories from his rugby journey, including his experience winning the Rugby World Cup in 2003, his love for performance as a winner of Dancing on Ice, and his personal battles with mental health and OCD. He opens up about the challenges that come from transitioning from sports to media and reflects on the importance of family support, especially with his sister's battle with cancer. Kyran reflects on the surreal experience of winning the Rugby World Cup in 2003. He shares how that final against Australia was the culmination of years of grit, close calls and setbacks. For him, Johnny Wilkinson's famous winning drop goal was a moment of profound relief and triumph. From dislocated shoulders to a brutal on-field accident, Kyran discusses the physical toll of rugby and how he maintained his motivation even when dealing with major setbacks. He recalls specific injuries and the intense determination it took to return to the field each time. After his sports career, Kyran embraced a new path, winning Dancing on Ice, a moment that introduced him to a whole new audience. He explains the transition to media and public speaking as well as the surprising attention he received, sometime even eclipsing his rugby fame. Kyran speaks candidly about his struggles with OCD, describing how high-stakes performance and pressure impacted his mental health. He shares the often hidden struggles that come with professional sports and emphasises the importance of open dialogue and seeking help. In a particularly heartfelt segment of the podcast, Kyran discusses his podcast Kicking Cancer into Touch, which he co-hosts with his sister Louise, who is currently who was battling cancer. He explains how the podcast aims to support others dealing with cancer diagnoses and provides a platform for honest conversations around resilience, family, and mental health. Some key takeaways: resilience and adaptability. Kyran's story emphasises the importance of perseverance, whether recovering from injury, adapting to life after sports, or facing personal issues with mental health. Support systems matter. From his rugby career to family life, Kyran stresses the importance of having a support network, especially evidence in his journey supporting his sister and through his own OCD struggles. Embrace new paths with openness. His shift from rugby to entertainment and public speaking shows that with the right mindset, life transitions can open unexpected and rewarding opportunities. Some memorable quotes. When you're a kid playing amateur rugby, winning the World Cup is a dream. But actually standing there, hearing the whistle and realising you've done it, that's a whole different feeling. The game ends, but the adrenaline doesn't stop, even when you want it to. Mental health in sport is as much about managing that it is as about the next match. And lastly, watching my sister go through her battle with cancer, I've learned that there's always more strength in you than you realise. That's when we hope to share with others through this podcast. Episode 4 featured Sunetra Sarker. Sunetra is a famous actress based in the UK, who has been on the likes of Brookside, Casualty and Ackley Bridge. Actress Sunetra Sarker opens up her journey in the television industry, discussing the importance of representation, authenticity and resilience. She provides insights into the evolving landscape of media and the power of storytelling to drive social change. Her key points focus on authenticity in acting, representation and resilience in media. A quote is that our stories are powerful when they reflect our truths, and the learnings are staying authentic can empower change and encourage representation. In this episode, I welcome Sunetra Sarker, a celebrated actress whose diverse career spans notable roles in Brookside, Casualty, and Ackley Bridge. Sunetra shares her journey from an unexpected start in acting to her growth in the industry, where she has become an agent, director, and advocate for authentic representation in media. Known for her candidness, Sunetra discusses her experiences on popular shows like Gogglebox, The Chase, and Strictly Come Dancing, and her exploration of self-care practices through her podcast. Sunetra recalls being discovered at a bus stop at only 15 years old. She talks about her first audition for Brookside, a Liverpool-based soap opera, and how acting became an unexpected lifelong journey. She shares the story of being approached by a casting director and how a 3-episode role turned into 3 years, launching her into a successful acting career. Starting in Brookside, Sunetra's early career was shaped by the show's focus on representation. She reflects on the opportunity to portray characters not often seen on television and emphasises the importance of authenticity in the stories portrayed. One of her most memorable experiences, Strictly Come Dancing, took Sunetra far out of her comfort zone. Helping her gain confidence and realise her love for new challenges, she reflects on the unique pressures of live television and describing it as a transformative moment in her career. Sunetra speaks passionately about representation in media, touching both on her personal experiences and industry challenges. She discusses how diversity has evolved since her debut and her hope for more substantive roles for underrepresented actors, emphasising the importance of roles that portray nuanced, multi-dimensional characters. Sunetra shares her journey from her roots in Liverpool to her eventual move to London, describing the cultural shock, challenges, and an eventual acceptance she found within the acting community. During Strictly, Sunetra faced the demanding challenge of learning a dance routine in just one day due to her commitments on Casualty. She described the thrill and adrenaline of live performances and how it felt to compete on one of Britain's biggest stages. Some key takeaways. Embrace unexpected opportunities. Sunetra's journey is a testament to staying open to possibilities even when they rise unexpectedly. Resilience in the face of rejection. Despite the many challenges and setbacks she faced, Sunetra emphasises the value of persistence and resilience, especially in a competitive field like acting. Authenticity and diversity. Sunetra advocates for genuine representation in media, encouraging a more inclusive industry that accurately reflects diverse audiences. Some memorable quotes. Sometimes the role chooses you. I never thought I'd be an actress, but that first audition changed my life. The thrill of live television is incomparable. There's no redo, no stakes. It's just you out there, giving it your all. Diversity isn't about filling quotas. It's about telling real, honest stories that reflect the world we live in. Episode 5 featured Tim Henman. Tim is a famous tennis player, having reached a height of number 4 in the world and number 1 in Great Britain. In this episode, Tim Henman shares insights on mental and physical preparation needed to compete at Wimbledon and the challenges of moving beyond a professional sports career. He underscores the role of focus and mental resilience in handling the pressures of a competition. The key points focus on mental resilience, transitioning beyond sports, and a focus in high-stakes environments. A quote is that talent gets you started, mental toughness gets you through. And the learning is that managing performance anxiety and maintaining focus are vital for peak performance. Some key takeaways. Embracing the journey and resilience. Henman shares how setbacks, including like early injuries and missing Wimbledon wins, were part of the journey. Instead of focusing on outcomes, he emphasised maximising potential and building resilience. Defining success beyond wins. For Tim, success is about reaching one's personal best rather than achieving titles. Even as the 4th-ranked player in the world, his focus remained on steady improvement and learning. Staying in the present and controlling the controllables. Tim highlighted how staying present and not letting past mistakes affect the current moment helped him perform under immense pressure. He also avoided media distractions, keeping his focus on what he could control, his preparation and performance. Giving back through the Tim Henman Foundation. Inspired by his own opportunities, Tim established the foundation to provide educational and sports opportunities for those less fortunate, highlighting the importance of giving back. The power of mental fortitude. Tim credits his success to strong mental discipline, especially in high-stakes matches. He encourages others to focus on their thoughts to build confidence and stay resilient. Future goals. Now on the board of Wimbledon, Tim is focused on sustaining the tournament's legacy, his foundation work and roles in tennis keeping connected to his lifelong passion. Success isn't just about winning. It's about maximising your potential and giving it your all. That's where true fulfillment comes in. Staying in the present and focusing on the net point, no matter what happened before, was key for me at Wimbledon. It's all about controlling the controllables. Wimbledon isn't just a tournament, it's a legacy. We focus on history, tradition, and innovation to make it one of the world's greatest events. Confidence is the sum of your thoughts. When you focus on positive thoughts, you build the confidence to succeed. I was so lucky to have so many opportunities growing up. Through my foundation, I want to create the same for others in sports and in education. Episode 5 featured Iain Alexander. Iain is a digital marketing expert, discussing the role of technology and digital media in shaping modern communication. He is more well known as an artist, both in physical form and in digital form, as well as being the likes of a portrait artist for the royal family, doing a piece of art for the Queen herself. He explained how storytelling, adaptability, and embracing innovation are crucial for brands to connect with their audiences effectively. His key points focus on digital storytelling, adaptability, and embracing innovation. And a key quote, in digital, it's not just about what you say, but how you make people feel. And a learning is that adaptability and storytelling are key to forming strong digital relationships. Embracing resilience and self-belief. Iain highlights the importance of taking risks and having self-belief, especially when pursuing passions and dreams. Even after setbacks like his injury that stopped him from competing in the Olympics, he transitioned into DJing and art, fueled by the support of his family and mentors. Creative process and innovation in art. Iain's approach to art is unique in that he customizes pieces based on clients' needs and spaces, often exploring unconventional materials to differentiate his work. His approach highlights the importance of balanced creativity with market appeal. Networking and genuine relationships. Iain's connections with prominent figures and clients worldwide were built through genuine relationships and cultural adaptability. His advice for young professionals focuses on networking, building trust, and leaving lasting impressions. His commitment to environmental sustainability. Iain is the first artist to achieve the OCW Carbon Neutral International Standard, aligning his work with global environmental goals and making his projects carbon neutral, especially in larger scale ventures. Pioneering a new art platform for artists. Through his upcoming Appreciation Gallery, Iain is creating a platform to help other artists market and sell their work, especially in limited editions, giving them a unique business model to support themselves financially. Giving back and philanthropy. Iain's commitment to philanthropy spans multiple causes, including hospice care, animal welfare, and supporting the arts in Jersey. His dedication to giving back is a key motivator in his life and career. There's no such thing as a risk when you're following what you're passionate about. Fight for what you believe in and don't be afraid of setbacks. Art isn't just about creating, it's about protecting our world too. Being carbon neutral is my commitment to a sustainable future. Connecting with people worldwide taught me that adaptability and genuine interest go a long way. Treat every encounter as an opportunity. Through the Appreciation Gallery, I want to help artists take control of their art and reach new audiences. Artists deserve to thrive doing what they love. Episode 7 featured Nick Wheeler. Nick is the founder of Charles Tyrwhitt, and he talked about his journey in the fashion industry, the value of consistency, and the lessons learned from building a successful brand. He emphasizes resilience and staying true to brand values despite market challenges and changes. His key points focus on brand consistency, resilience, and staying true to values. And a key quote is, "Stay the course, success comes from perseverance." And the learning is that consistency and resilience are essential for brand longevity. Building a brand from the ground up. Nick began with multiple small ventures, including a Christmas tree business and a photography business, before eventually founding Charles Tyrwhitt. His entrepreneurial attempts taught him valuable lessons in customer service, product quality, and persistence. The power of focus and learning from mistakes. Nick emphasized the importance of focus, explaining how branching out too quickly into unrelated markets like children's clothing nearly caused his business to fail. Learning from failure was crucial. He advises entrepreneurs to focus on what they do best by building a lasting company. Passion for product. A core theme is Nick's love for products over services. He enjoys creating quality items from shoes to shirts that make a difference in customers' lives. Cultivating a fan, customer-centric culture. Nick shares how vital it is to foster a work culture where employees feel ownership. He ensures Charles Tyrwhitt work environment is enjoyable, allowing employees to take pride in contributing to success. Unique marketing and partnerships. From collaborating with the New York Jets to sponsoring the England rugby team, Charles Tyrwhitt's partnerships go beyond business. They're strategically aligned with the brand's customer persona, James Sanderson in this case, reinforcing the brand's values. Inspiration from family and legacy. Nick Wheeler, Chrissy Rucker, the founder of the White Company, and they both have built unique businesses. He highlights the value of having a close family member who shares similar experiences as they continue to inspire each other's journey. Every failure brings a lesson. Losing focus cost us once, but it made us stronger. Stick to what you love and never stop learning. When people love where they work, you see it in the product. Make work feel like home. Don't complicate it. Sell great products with value, quality, and service. Focus is the best growth strategy. I want to wake up to see men worldwide seeing men worldwide wearing our shirts. Success is a journey, not a destination. Episode 8 of Personable featured Guy Kinnings. Guy is the director of the Ryder Cup as well as being the deputy CEO of the DP World Tour. And in this, he discusses his experience in organising one of the world's largest sporting events, highlighting teamwork, logistics, and managing stakeholder expectations. He shares the behind-the-scenes insight on leadership within large-scale sports management. His key points focus on teamwork in sports, event management, and stakeholder relationships. And a key quote, "It takes a team to create something unforgettable." And learnings focus on effective collaboration and attention to detail, drive success in large-scale events. In this episode, I'm joined by Guy Kinnings, Deputy CEO of the European Tour Group, Chief Commercial Officer and Executive Director of the Ryder Cup. Guy's career journey from law into sports management at IMG highlights his commitments to sports and golf, with a deep respect for the values of integrity and tradition within the game. We discuss Guy's evolving career path and the responsibilities he now holds, particularly in shaping the Ryder Cup into a globally recognised event. Journey to golf and professional growth. Guy's move from legal work to sports management reveals a unique transition led by his time at IMG. "It wasn't a grand plan," he said, but he quickly found his passion in player management where trust became paramount. The player has to trust you'll represent them as if they were there, and hopefully even better. Guy's law background served as a strong foundation, preparing him to communicate effectively with players and to navigate the intricacies of the sports industry. Reflecting on the Ryder Cup, Guy speaks to the delicate balance of maintaining tradition while pursuing growth. Golf isn't football, it punches way above its weight. We discussed how golf documentaries such as Netflix's Full Swing have helped attract new audiences by revealing the personalities behind the players, thus expanding the appeal of golf beyond its typical fan base. Guy emphasises that innovation is crucial, but must be done thoughtfully to uphold the sport's authenticity and core values. Guy also acknowledges golf's outdated, exclusive image, but highlights efforts to modernise and broaden its appeal. The real opportunity is showing that golf can appeal to all and make it accessible. He explains the showing initiatives aimed at junior players and diverse demographics. We discuss moments like junior players walking and playing on the Ryder Cup course, inspiring young aspiring golfers with close-up experience of the professional game. They are wide-eyed, Guy recalls, illustrating the impact of these experiences on the future of the sport. The key learnings focus on building trust. Guy believes that trust is the foundation of successful player management, stating, the player has to trust that you will represent them as if they were there. Balancing tradition and innovation. While golf must evolve, Guy emphasises that its lasting appeal lies in its integrity and history, particularly in storied events like the Ryder Cup. Youth and diversity outreach. The future of golf depends on drawing in new, younger audiences with focused efforts to make the sport more inclusive and accessible. Role models and global influence. Citing figures like Tiger Woods, Guy reflects on how prominent players can inspire and alleviate the sport globally. And the 3-sentence summary. In this episode, I hosted Guy Kinnings, who shares insights on the business and values of golf, the evolution of the Ryder Cup and his approach to sports management. Guy discusses his career journey, the need to balance tradition with innovation, and the importance of engaging younger, more diverse audiences. Through anecdotes and lessons learned, this episode provides a deep look into what makes golf both challenging and uniquely impactful. Episode 9 of Personable featured Dr. Stuart Pimm. Dr. Stuart Pimm was the first professor I've ever interviewed, and he is actually a conservation ecologist at Duke University. We discussed biodiversity loss and actionable steps for individuals to help combat it. He advocates for a 30% solution to protect a portion of the Earth's land and marine areas, underscoring the ethical duty of conservation. A key quote is that the loss of biodiversity is both a scientific and ethical challenge, and learning is that personal and collective action can make a significant impact on conservation. Dr. Stuart Pimm's career in conservation, highlighted by receiving the prestigious Cosmos Prize, is rooted in a lifelong passion for nature. We discussed critical environmental issues, discussing biodiversity loss, the ethical imperatives of conservation, and the role of global efforts in biodiversity protection. Dr. Pimm shares his origins in environmental conservation. Inspired by early experiences in nature, his transformative research on biodiversity loss began during his time in Hawaii, where he recognized the pressing need to address species extinction. As a scientist, I had the ethical responsibility and skill set to do something about it, he shares. Emphasizing the ethical responsibility drives his commitment to conservation. The 30% solution and global efforts. Explaining the 30% solution, Dr. Pimm discusses the global agreement to protect 30% of land and oceans by 2030, involving leaders as diverse as Boris Johnson, President Biden, and Xi Jinping. He discusses this solution as a unified effort, essential for biodiversity preservation and climate stability. We probed into the complexities of ensuring compliance among nations, to which Dr. Pimm highlights the advances in satellite tracking and local involvement. Now we have a much better idea of where countries are meeting their biodiversity goals. Dr. Pimm argues that conservation is not only a scientific concern but also an ethical one, reinforcing that people feel a moral duty to protect nature for future generations. He encourages public engagement, from making conscious consumer choices to holding politicians accountable. Politicians are more influenced by young people. Seeing them rally around conservation sends a powerful message. Key insights and learnings. Ethics and conservation. Dr. Pimm emphasises the ethical duty to preserve nature for future generations, viewing conservation as a blend of science, ethics, and public policy. Local impact and community involvement. Conservation initiatives, he explains, are most successful when local communities are empowered to protect their own environments. Action over anger. He hopes the next generation emphasises proactive steps of frustration, saying we need to act what we know rather than focusing on what we can control. And the 3-sentence summary. In episode 9, Dr. Stuart Pimm joins Harvey to discuss ethics, science, and local efforts that drive global diversity conservation. Dr. Pimm shares insights from his research, focusing on sustainable solutions and urging younger generations to replace anger with meaningful action. This episode offers an optimistic yet grounded perspective on conservation, outlining steps we can all take to protect biodiversity and the planet. And lastly, episode 10. Episode 10 features James Frost. James is a young tech entrepreneur discussing his journey from finance to co-founding the nightlife app Buzz, and now working on Valley. He stresses the importance of persistence, networking, and building experience as critical steps for an aspiring entrepreneur. The key points focus on networking, persistence, and building experience. And a quote, 97% of people who give up too early end up working for the 3% that don't. And a learning is that success is often a product of resilience and leveraging connections effectively. In this episode, I spoke to James Frost, a recent London School of Economics graduate and the co-founder of the app Buzz and the startup Valley. James, with a passion for both entrepreneurship and fashion, shares his journey from an aspiring finance professional to creative entrepreneur, discussing the experiences that have shaped his path and future ambitions. Early life and career shift. Growing up in southwest London, James initially set his sights on finance. Inspired by films such as The Big Short, however, during his time at LSE, he shifted his focus towards entrepreneurship, realizing the value of building something of his own. From venture capital to startups, after gaining experience in venture capital, he recognized the allure of creating solutions rather than simply investing in them. This transition led him to co-found Buzz, a social networking app built for nightlife, which he built by recruiting student developers in exchange for equity. Building Buzz. Buzz focused on creating exclusive, in-the-know social places for students, incorporating features like an interactive heat map and guest list functionality. James creatively marketed the app by fostering a culture of exclusivity, hosting high-profile events and connecting with prominent figures like Fred Again and Skepta, leveraging FOMO and strategic brand positioning. Inspiration behind Valley. James's latest venture, Valley, aims to connect non-technical founders with talented developers. Drawing from his own experiences, he designed Valley to streamline the process of building startup teams by matching technical talent with those who have ideas but lack coding skills. The role of fashion and culture. James is deeply embedded in London's fashion culture, attending events, building connections, and positioning himself as a socialite. His experiences navigating London and Paris fashion weeks provided him unique insights into brand building through cultural relevance and strategic relationships. Reflections on entrepreneurship. James encourages persistence, noting that success often requires numerous attempts and a strong network. He believes in moving quickly on ideas, learning through action, and advises that 90% of people who give up too early end up working for the 3% who don't. Learnings and advice. Short-form content for marketing. James emphasizes the power of TikTok for brand promotion, sharing that his most successful ventures grew significantly through this medium. Strategic networking. Building relationships with creatives and influencers is central to growth. James's advice for others is to seek connections that add to the brand authentically. And the value of persistence. If you keep hitting failures, just keep trying. James says, underscoring his belief that success comes from resilience and continuous effort. And the three-sentence summary is that James Frost's journey from finance student to the co-founder of Buzz and Valley showcases a unique blend of entrepreneurial ambition and cultural engagement. His story reveals the importance of adaptability, the value of authentic networking, and the power of creative persistence at building both business and personal brand. In his own words, do what you love, be kind, and don't give up, as he exemplifies the energy of a young entrepreneur embracing every opportunity. The Personal Podcast's first 10 episodes of the journeys of leaders and innovators across fields like sports, fashion, media, conservation, and technology. The key themes focus on resilience, ethical leadership, authenticity, and the power of community. Each guest story highlights the value of mental toughness, adaptability, and building meaningful connections for personal growth and professional growth. This series provides a practical and inspiring advice for listeners at any stage of their career. So now you've heard it. You've heard the summary of the first 10 guests on Personable, mostly done from me reading my notes that I'd taken from each of those episodes. There's a lot more insights in ways that each of those guests and the insights I gained from each of those episodes have adapted and filled into my own life. What I love most about this podcast is the ability to be able to get a new perspective, a unique journey from people irrelevant of their field. I think it would be incredibly repetitive to learn simply from actors or comedians or CEOs or founders, because you're getting a different version of the same story over and over again. And although my podcast is largely focused on the journeys in which people have taken, you will see how their unique mindsets and ways, philosophies, ethical judgments, and how they look at certain situations and what they aim to get out of it guide their judgments. I advise you to do the same. I can't pretend that I agree with everything that all 10 of these podcast guests have said, but I can for certain say that there are many takeaways that I can take away from each of those episodes that I can draw into my own life. For example, Ruben Gnanalingam, a constant need to always do and focus on what you love. I think that's incredibly important, and that's how he's focused on having sport in his world, even though he has a big business with over 6,000 people to manage. Andrea Pinchen, the idea of never giving up, and sometimes you have to make hard choices in order to get the goal that you need, causing players like Manu Tuolangi to leave, some of their best players to leave, and taking a 25% pay cut in the pandemic when people might need it most, but leading it in order to ensure the club's survival. I mean, we've seen like 2 Premiership rugby clubs go bankrupt in the past few years, and so I think this was really important. Seeing my uncle Kyran Bracken's journey and the transition from rugby to the life on dancing on ice and creating a career afterwards. I think it can be incredibly hard to create a career after playing a professional sport, but I think he's handled it incredibly well. And I incredibly respect his openness about his OCD and the struggles he had, and how he's been able to inspire other people to share what they have and so they can incorporate into their own lives. Sunetra Sarker, although she was discovered at a very young age and achieved success early on, it's often those people that give up too early, they've achieved success and never continue. She has achieved longevity in her career, not only being an actress, but also a director and a producer. In fact, something that sticks out to me the most from that episode is she mentioned, in order to be an actor, you've got to be willing to perform on a Nigerian TV channel at 3 a.m. in the morning, or in a small stage in Brighton to 10 people. You become an actor purely out of love for that. And success is doing the thing in and of itself. Because for 99.9% of people, they're never going to achieve success in acting or in these highly, demanding fields. But if you love it enough, passion will always beat talent. And if you keep going at something, maybe you will never achieve the extrinsic success that she has, but you will at least get the intrinsic success, being the best you can be and something you care and love about the most. Tim Henman. Tim was number 4 in the world for tennis, an incredibly tough sport to rise to the top at, particularly because it's an individual focused sport. There's no way to hide when the number of points you win is always counted. But for Tim, the ability to, when you lose a point, to always be able to reset and to focus on controlling the controllables and be ready for the next point is incredibly important. And now, similarly, he's been able to transition that into a career, being on the board of Wimbledon and also focusing on building a foundation to help those and give back. Iain Alexander, portrait artist for the Queen, as well as many different world leaders. I think his ability to connect with these incredible people, but to utilise these connections in the best way possible, to not only present them with something that they love, but also art, thing that will transcend time and be able to depict leaders as in their true spirit, offering a unique edge. And the way that he's trying to incorporate digitalised media as well is offering a new scope to the world of modern art in 2024. Nick Wheeler, he has built a company worth hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. I think his focus on initially building out these tree cutting companies and then, Christmas tree cutting, selling companies, and then realizing that Christmas trees were a seasonal based business, and then I think he had a shoe brand and he tried to measure everyone's shoes and then send them off to India. They were sent back, they were all different sizes. I think there's always this emphasis in business on building things and achieving success, and this focus on myopic short-termism in wanting success in the here and in the now. But Nick was able to wait and build this business over 30 years. Instead of all this bullshit of improving 1% every day, instead focusing on improving 1 or 2 or 3% every year enables him to not only beat, but also outlast every other business. If you have a startup company that receives millions in funding, sure, the 1%, the 5%, or the 10% will achieve heights of success unseen ever before and achieve those heights and be really successful in a short period of time. But for the 90, 95, 97, 8, or 99% of companies that do that and receive that funding, they're going to go bust very quickly straight away. But if you can have those mistakes and be able to have a strong balance sheet that can, cater for that over time, you're going to be successful because you'll simply outlast all the competitors. Guy Kinnings, similarly, a relationship-based business, working with the likes of Tiger Woods and some of the best businessmen in the world. He's gone from an agent to being very involved in the leadership of the DP World Tour and trying to make sure it's relevant with a strong focus on the younger communities. You often hear, particularly a sport like golf, you would think it depicts this strong focus on just tradition and sticking to their ways. But his strong way of being like, we need people to play the sport, we need people to get involved, and how can we get young people ensures the longevity of the sport. They're also looking at a merger with Live Golf and the PGA Tour, which I think are still in talks, so I'm being excited to see what happens there in the future. Dr. Stuart Pimm, achieving the heights of success in the academic world. He's reached the top, but yet he still feels like advocating for the planet. This is not a quick fix solution, but something that's going to take time to fix. In fact, it's always a case of like, what's the point in recycling a cup or looking after one animal when governments on a large scale are doing bad things? But he emphasizes the need for localized solutions on a globalized level. If everyone goes about speaking to their politicians and doing things within their community to fix things, this larger impact, this larger virality effect, this snowball effect will come about to be and change will occur. And lastly, James Frost. Being under the age of 25, he's only just left university and already built 2 ventures. Sure, they might not yet be, unicorn status, but I think this constant persistence to want to be the best and to network with the best, getting himself on to the front rows of Fashion Week and meeting some of the greatest minds on the planet are incredibly important. Sometimes people say, there's a famous saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if James is able to continually foster these amazing connections at such a young age, I'm excited to see where he ends up in the next 10 years. I hope you have got your own thoughts and learnings from these episodes. If you do, please feel free to leave them in the comment section of this video or the other videos. I'm a constant work in progress and learning as much as I can. And rather selfishly, even if no one listened to this podcast, I would still do and run these conversations because I truly believe that I am learning more from speaking to these people than any other form of learning, even studying at Duke University, than I've ever done before. Thank you very much for your time. This has been me, your host, HarveyBracken-Smith. Have a great day and continually be and become the best that you can be.